Hey everyone, well, something different tonight. Going to do an iPad. We've got an iPad 7 that has a bad charge port. To be honest, I did this a few days ago and I stuffed up the audio recording. So now I've got to do a voiceover, talk over, follow along, chit chat with the video. So if this doesn't work out so well, don't worry, it probably won't happen again. Let's get into the video. We keep the iPad on the heater, get it nice and hot up to about 75, and we're going to just sort of slice off that front digitizer. Fortunately, this one doesn't have too many breaks in it, which makes it fairly easy to get it off. I use those red spacers to stop the glue sticking back down. You got to try and not touch that display on the inside though. That's always the fun part, because if you get glue on that inside, yeah, it's difficult to get it off. And then the tricky part is separating the bottom edge where the home button is, because you don't want to break that home button cable. And we've got that one open. Alright, so now we can get the display out. So we've got our 4 screws. The trickiest bit is the glue that bonds those left side ones. You've got to cut it away and lift it up gently. Okay, we've got that one alright. Battery disconnected. Remove the flexes. We're good. So now we've got to get this logic board out. That's going to be fun. Don't normally do the logic board removals, but sometimes it has to be done, and in this case we do. Oh yeah, the main cause for battery charge port failures seems to be the 2 screws at the bottom being loose. So every time we change the digitizer, tighten them back up. Alright, so we're trying to get the flexes all undone. It's a bit of a tedious process. Fortunately not as bad as some other ones, like the 3G models are really annoying. This is Wi-Fi only, so we heat it back up, try and get the glue to sort of loosen up so we can slide a separator underneath without tearing off the little magnetic coupling pads. So here's that, we're using a plastic slider here. You can just get one part lifted up and then the rest usually comes up. There we go, all good. So now we've got to change this charge flex. Now mine, I only had a black one on hand, but it's the same one. Trickiest part here is to not tear any of the pads on the actual iPad. So you got to take it easy, and it doesn't help that they've glued it on with a fair bit of stuff here. So I tried a few different things, like heating and lifting with the separator. The glue again still playing trouble there. You can see bits of it really quickly there. And in the end just sort of overwicked it. Cleaning it up, getting it ready for putting the new one down. You need a little bit of solder there to help it wick through, but not too much. So line it up, put some flux down, line it up, those 2 square dots, the top and bottom, get them right, tack it down, first couple, and then the rest should follow pretty easy. You got to keep it flat though. Take your time, keep it flat. You don't want to bulge in that. And now at this stage, we're just going to go back over it and give it a bit of extra solder. Probably not needed, but it makes me feel better about the security of it. Check it works. It works. Voltage came up, charge came up. Cover up those pads. And the dim-wit me forgot to remove the adhesive cover off that. New port getting screwed in, and we put everything back. Of course, the adhesive on these foil mesh things for the RFI, the EMI, they're always such a pain. They never stick back properly. And the connectors up the top of the camera and all that, that can be a real pain to get lined up for some reason. I'm not sure why, but they're very fickle. Getting the Wi-Fi connectors back on properly. And yeah, trying to get these all lined back up and sticking down is a bit of a fun job. Most of the problem with iPads is just they take so long to get into and then reassemble afterwards for what would otherwise be a very simple job. So we're going to test to make sure it actually does boot still, that we haven't mucked up anything. We get our Apple logo, so that's a good sign. The charge rate is picking up on this, and yep, we're good to go. Obviously we can't shut it down unless we pull the battery out. So put the battery separator back in, and clean it up. I spend a fair bit of time cleaning up these chassis. I really want to be able to make sure that the glue sticks properly. Now I use a combination of the narrow 3mm straight blades and then the bigger 10mm blades. Get off most of that gunk and then go over it with IPA and give it a good rub until it squeaks. By the time it squeaks, you got it good enough that you can then rely on the glue to bond down properly. I actually don't mind doing the cleanup on this. It's somewhat therapeutic, though it can get frustrating at times. But the little 3mm flat blade helps a lot, making it an easier task. And now we're going to do a new digitizer flex. Got to take this home button flex off. Be careful with it. You don't want to tear these. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world if the Touch ID fails, but it'd be nice to give it back to the customer as it is. And also make sure you check that the little dimple is intact on these things. So many times I have put them back together and the dimple's broken off. Okay, that's all good, that one. And we clean up all the human grime. No matter how clean a person is, those home buttons will collect plenty of human grime, so give it a clean while it's out. Bit of IPA, that's good. Now I use a bit of hot glue on the pads to make things bond down, so Soren would be happy. It's not a lot, but it's just enough to help it stick back properly. I mark the in screen so that I remember to take off that inner plastic. Very frustrating, put it all back together and forget to take that inner plastic out. Okay, so now we're back to the more standard reassembly process. iPad 7, 8 and 9 tend to be basically the same. I do wish Apple hadn't have made it that you need to bend these flexes up so much just to be able to screw in those 3 screws for the retainer plate. Okay, our 4 corner screws going back in. It's the dangerous part. You can easily forget something and close it up when you haven't finished. So we're just double checking again now that everything's working. Touch is working. Should we shut it down? Yep. Okay, I'll lift it up. Peel off all the protecting tape. Getting ready to put it down. We're going to give a little bit of a air blast as we close this down. Okay, and then make sure that we didn't miss some large object of dust. So all charging up. Once I'm happy with it, we go put the clamps on, and then we leave it for a few hours. That really helps that tape stick down good and proper. There we have it. Thanks for watching.